Welcome to DevCast number 17. My name is Bardaki, and we are looking at the Unwanted War. I've been a bit absent from YouTube in a little while. Reason being, I've done some relatively large code changes in the background, and really couldn't show any in progress of that would be meaningful. So we're looking here at the Nordic setting, and I'm going to keep it paused. Some of these models have been updated, so for example, the Ithagan has gotten a new skin, so there are some of these units, like the Skipara has gotten a new bow, a little bit of visual updates, just to keep them a bit more distinctive. Yeah, that's kind of like pure visual thing, but it'll help keeping them distinguishable. Another lovely change, mostly around tooltips, is you can see this radar graph in the middle, and all the icons around it are specific to the setting they're in, and they will show the amount of damage resistance a unit has. And as you can tell, not all of them are currently updated and showing properly, but that's merely a code change and some configuration changes. The general basics of it do work, and as you can tell, some of these are broken, but I've worked on the Skipara recently, and it does show that the Skipara has a damage output of, well, if every shot hits, 50 damage per second, and also has 0.2. Is it 0.2 or 0.3? I'm not entirely sure. I'm intentionally not showing the values and only showing them relatively, because there is variation in how they shoot, so it's not a guaranteed damage. The only real guaranteed damage would be melee, but you know, that's the whole issue with melee damage, is when you're close it's effective. If you're a lot further away, can't do melee damage over distance. That's called range damage. The other big change has honestly happened to the computer enemy, so I'm gonna scroll over here, and you can tell this group of unit is just sitting here, and they spawned a new group of units. This is a completely new feature for the computer enemy, so they spawn what I dubbed gaggle, so just a group of units. They are made up out of a set of units that are defined in their build order. And they spawn a random amount within reason of these groups of units. They are mixed. These groups of units can be made up of different units, obviously. And at the moment, they're just spawning and taking defensive positions around the main headquarters. But they are planned to later defend positions, defend ways to the base. And these are not always guaranteed to be the same every time you play against them, so the harder difficulties have more variation, and only some of these variations are picked every time you play against them, to keep it more variable on how you play against the enemy. These are also the formations that will attack you, so it might be interesting to study them. The size of them is more or less always the same. So if you get the same template of this group, they will be the same size, just to keep it a bit more concise. This is something you would do as a player as well, to be like, I want 5 of these and 7 of these units. That's how I usually attack. So the computer will do that as well. And as you can tell, they are spawning a lot of them. And there are some issues still with, you can tell these are some builder units that are not playing along, and because I can, I am merely going to spawn, you know, a handful of archers on my own, just to see what happens. I mean, I kind of have played out this a few times, and it is always nice to see your units in the distance. You can control them from here, just not all that reasonable, to be honest. However, how many did? Okay, I did spawn a lot of them, is the answer. And Yeah, 150. That's fine. There's still some visual changes that need updating, but so be it. And I'm just gonna send them all to attack. Because why not have a grand old battle in this lovely DevCast? So you can see the individual units are still a bit silly how they attack. The buildings still explode lovely, but just sending them somewhere to attack doesn't always end up in them winning, even if you have a lot of overwhelming units. Is this actually, am I winning? I'm not entirely sure if I'm winning. They are missing surprisingly often, but that is how that goes at times. Yeah, that's still work in progress, to be honest. But it does appear that I'm slightly winning at least. Not sure. Not sure. No, I think I'm losing. I think I'm slowly losing. 20. Yeah. I might be losing. But that's fine. So this is how these templates of units, or these groups of units will act. And it is specific for all the different factions, for all the different eras, obviously. But yeah, that is more or less the big change. As you can tell when you select units, these lines also need tweaking. This is work in progress at the moment. But I will leave it with that. And thank you very much for watching this week's DevCast. See you next time. Bye-bye.